So my plan for today is I'm gonna go get a workout at the gym office. So I usually actually go to the big box gym across the street, but I don't know that they like camera equipment and all that being set up. So I'm actually gonna go shoot in the office gym. And then when we wrap there, I got the photo studio scheduled for today. I have to record a VSL. So I'm gonna go and I'm gonna shoot a VSL, but I'm gonna shoot the behind the scenes. So it's gonna be like Inception. I'm gonna be shooting, but you're gonna get a shot of me actually shooting. And then we're just gonna shoot just some quick shots around the office. And the purpose of all this, like why am I even, I thought about this the other day, why am I even documenting everything or documenting anything? And I think, my reason is this. There's two reasons. The first one is I heard someone say something. They were talking about Conor McGregor, Kylie Jenner, and The Rock, right? Like Conor McGregor has a whiskey brand, The Rock has a tequila brand, and then Kylie Jenner obviously has a makeup brand. And all three of them launched a business that was worth hundreds of millions of dollars almost overnight. Kylie Jenner's was worth into the billions. And it's not that they were necessarily a better entrepreneur or, that they did something great to explode their business. The difference was they had a following. They had an organic following of people that knew them, that liked them, that trusted them, and therefore were willing to transact. So, being transparent, that's my first motivation is I see the upside in business for building a brand. But the second piece of it is there was a time when I was building my business and struggling and working and just trying to figure shit out. And I needed someone to help me. And I made a lot of mistakes along the way and I lost money and I, almost quit and gave up multiple times. And so, from where I am now, not that I have everything figured out or that, I'm not still working on myself and I still don't, I still want to improve myself. But from where I am now, I feel like I've accumulated experience, knowledge, business knowledge, mistakes, and just, a lot of time. And I feel obligated to give back. So the second piece of this is just letting people into my life and seeing what it's really like and, seeing some of the challenges in real time. And I sold my old business. I'm building a new business where I help other entrepreneurs and CEOs and online owners. So, giving back, really, it's hard to give back if you're not documenting and if you're not creating content for people. So that is my second motivator is, document my life, document what I'm doing in business, the good, the bad, the hardships, everything, right? And then share it with people so that maybe they avoid some of the mistakes or they can learn something or they can streamline their growth to where they want to be. Or they could just see that the shit is not all perfect. I have a family, I have kids, I have friends, I have, I get tired, I get frustrated. And then I have really good days, right? My hope is that I build a following and I benefit from that, but I also help other people. So now we're going to head down to the gym for a workout because in my opinion, in order to be the best husband, dad, entrepreneur, CEO, gotta keep your health, your nutrition, your wellness right. So let's go get a workout. I'm shorting these. I feel like I can't get a good range of motion. It's a little too short. I was watching a clip of Dorian Yates and he was talking about on this machine that people always try to stay so erect with their back, and he actually used to bend his back and pull back. A lot of his stuff, I like listening to him because a lot of his stuff goes against conventional bodybuilding wisdom, on pull downs or even pull ups. Everybody thinks this is what he said. This is not me, right? What do I know? But he said, everybody thinks the wider I go, the wider your back could be. But he always actually did underhand and would pull back to get, he felt more extension, more contraction or whatever, rather than just here. Cause he said it's stressful on the shoulders. There's not as much of a range of motion there. So I don't know. Dude had a crazy physique back in the day. So I'll take his advice. In business, I'm a big believer in just little consistency day to day, do rather than trying to kill yourself and do everything all at once, just show up every day and depending on how you feel, put in a little bit and eventually you look back and you know, you've made a lot of progress. So.
I'm not sure, I forget the author, but there's a great book by, I believe it's Darren Hardy, The Compound Effect.
Oh yeah, phenomenal.
Short
dude.
book.
Yeah,
it's
phenomenal. Yeah.
Precisely what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Where it's just like, you know, me and you both have the same genetic predisposition, right?
Sure.
But all I'm doing is walking 10 minutes a day.
Yep.
Over the course of 6 months.
Yeah.
The amount of progress that you can make
it's great. Yeah.
is significant.
Yeah.
You might not see that initially in the first couple of weeks, or the first couple of months, but it's just over the course of time.
Yeah.
It's just,
honestly, that concept I've applied to everything in life. Like, and you know, it's always hard for an outsider to, you know, they might view somebody, like we might look at somebody and be like, oh, this guy is genetically gifted, or he, you know, whatever does this. But for me, just being consistent for a long period of time, you'll pass people up. Like you'll lap people, you know, that are pushing harder, that are smarter, that are more talented. Like it sounds cliche and cheesy, but it's the truth, man. You know, I don't diet very hard, but literally 70-80% of the time I eat the same meals, and I've done that for 10 years. And then the other 30, I got kids, you know, the other 30% of the time I go out with them, I eat pizza, I do what I want. So rather than me having this like 7-day a week locked in for 12 weeks and then falling off my diet for 12 weeks or whatever, I've just been eating clean for 10 years straight. And I give myself leeway 20 to 30% of the time. And you know, I'm 41 and I've had abs for the past 10 years of my life, you know, and it's not any crazy diet or any crazy thing I do. It's just like, it's just consistency over a long period. I love my brother, but he's one of those guys that it's like, everything is like Monday or January or whatever, you know, and then like when he's on point.
New Year's resolutions kind of thing.
Yeah, dude. And then when he falls off hard, you know, and I'm like, if you fall off just it's like eating, the very next meal, just go back to what you were doing, you know?
Right.
Yeah. See, like Dorian said, like, feel free to let your back go, stretch a little bit.
I'm sure you know about this book, but I remember a couple of years back, somebody had recommended Atomic Habits.
Yeah, it's a great one too, man.
But just one.
I might actually have that one on my shelf upstairs.
I think that's like one of those must-have books.
Yeah, I got another one for you. Essentialism by Greg McKeown.
Yeah.
Have you seen that one?
I haven't read it, but I've heard about it, man.
One of my favorite. Another thing that I try to apply to like any business owners, any entrepreneurs, because entrepreneurs, they love to like jump from one thing to another. They like to be involved in, you know, they got their main business and then they got 3 or 4 different things going. Like you could relate. We were just talking about it. But the concept of the book is making progress on one thing when you drop all other distractions or all other obligations or responsibilities. So at one point, this was in 2020, right before COVID happened, I had 3 gyms that I owned. I had my marketing agency, and I had a full-time sales job with Comcast at the time. I did fiber optic sales. And I kind of woke up one day and I was like, why is everything I'm doing mediocre? Like I looked at other people, other entrepreneurs, and I'm like, they don't feel better than me. It doesn't seem like they're better than me. Do they know something I don't know? And it could have been around that time I read that book. And shortly after, I sold all 3 gyms. I quit my job. I called up my wife. She was pregnant with our son, and we had health insurance and all this stuff. And I called her up and I was like, I'm quitting the job. I'm selling the gyms, and I'm going all in on the marketing agency. And so I did that. It took a few months to sell the gyms, but I quit the job literally that day, or like the day after. And my marketing agency was doing about $4,000 or $5,000 a month at that time, monthly. And 4 months after, so this was October now of 2020, I quit everything, all in on the marketing agency. It was doing $4,000 a month. By January of 2021, we were doing $100,000 a month. We went from 4 to 100. 6 months after that, we hit 250,000. And then, you know, maybe a year and a half after that, we hit $500,000 a month. A couple things, all my energy and focus was all in on that business, but I backed myself against a wall too. Didn't have insurance, didn't have any other thing to lean on. So anyway, it's a great book. You should check it out.
I don't really try to think about like regrets in life, but if there's one thing that I could do like in my earlier 20s was just like read more. I hated school, man.
Yeah,
The only reason I got by was just because I was a phenomenal baseball player.
Yeah, yeah. I didn't even have that. I had nothing, bro. I hated school. I had no athletic talent, nothing. Dude, high school came. I would go to first period because it was shop class because I liked the teacher, and then I would show back up at 8th period for history class, and I did that for like 7-8 months straight or something like that until finally the school was like, they call my parents, they're like, he can't go here anymore. I end up getting kicked out of high school. I got to go to this alternative school 3 hours a day. And yeah, I graduated, but that was it, dude. College, all that stuff, I didn't even consider it. I hated school so much.
The reason why I mentioned that book, Atomic Habits, was because one of the rules that he has in there, it's really simple, but it really stuck with me, which was never miss any one habit for more than 2 days.
Yeah.
And that's just like what you were talking about earlier, where people have that all or nothing mentality.
Yeah.
And it's just like, even if they miss 1 or 2 days of nutrition, they get into this fuck it mentality.
Yeah.
And
like, I blew the whole thing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Opposed to like having that mindset of like, all right, when's the next best time that I can get back on the horse?
Yeah.
Right?
And you know what the beauty is in that? The longer you do that and the longer you stay somewhat consistent with your habits, it becomes automatic. So like, I'll fall off now. Like, fall off working out, fall off eating healthy, my sleep will get bad, but it's almost automatic at this point because I've habit stacked all these good habits over a long period of time that I have this craving and urge to get back as soon as I can. Like, like I have a sauna at my house. I have all this like biohacking, human optimization. I had cold plunge, sauna, red light therapy, all this stuff. And it's like, as soon as I have a bad weekend, or maybe I have a couple drinks of alcohol, or I go eat something that I shouldn't eat, I have this urge to like detox in the sauna and get back to the gym and go harder. Like, so but it's automatic, you know, for me.
Something that you mentioned there that I think it's important is the concept of habit stacking.
Yeah.
Where it's just like, you know, those multiple habits that are easy, that you can easily stack. Because for the most part, if you have a training nutrition, you almost feel inclined to be a little bit more mindful of your nutrition, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Where it's just like,
they go together. Yeah.
Right, they go hand in hand.
Yeah, and another thing I'll do too, like my kind of thought, like I don't know if this is actually a thing, but I've always used that phrase, habit stacking, and my concept of that is like, I already have my things that are automatic. They're like ingrained habits at this point. They're things that I do automatically. They don't take a lot of effort on my part. But let's say there's something new that I want to change or I want to incorporate into my life. Essentialism. I put all my focus on that one thing. And like all my effort is going towards making that a habit. And I try to stick that out for 30, 60, 90 days until it becomes automatic. And then once that one becomes automatic, I throw it in the vault, like I got that one. And then it's like, what's the next one? So rather than like, again, tying into the concept of that book, rather than being like, I want to start changing my diet and how many times I work out and what time I go to sleep and I want to do red light therapy, and you start trying to do all those things at once and you become overwhelmed because you're putting so much effort towards multiple things and it becomes harder and then you fail. Like for myself, the easier way to get W's and win is just like choose one. And then once you got that one, boom. Like recently, one of them was no picking up my phone when I go home. Like all my attention goes to my wife and kids. Like eating, that's it, phone stays down. And that was it. That was the new goal or habit for me. You know, rather than being like, no phone, intimate conversation, play with my kids for it was just like, no fucking phone, right? Just put the phone down.
Right.
And I'm like, and then I tell myself too, like, all right, you could do this. Like how hard is just one thing, putting the phone down, you know? So
that's something that I see quite common amongst, you can call them, you can say successful people, is that they have that self-efficacy within them, you know, of like being able to coach themselves through the day and like for certain things.
Yeah, I mean, you know what else too, man, is like the more times you do those things and the more you successfully pull them off, you trust yourself more. Whenever you choose what it is you want to do or what you want to change, like you begin to trust yourself more. And then you're like, you know, you get confidence in whatever it is. So, and the opposite, the more that you say you're going to do something and the more that you don't do it, you let yourself down, you lose trust. So then it's like in a relationship, right? If my wife always told me like she's gonna do something and then she failed to do it, or vice versa, that's what I did over and over, you lose trust.
Right.
People don't see that you have the same relationship with yourself, you know? The more you say you're gonna do something and not do it, you lose trust in yourself. And then when you try to do it, you're like, oh, I'm the type of person that, you know, makes mistakes and screws it up all the time. That's just who I am. Right. You know, I told you like I did those rant videos the last 2 days.
Right.
The rant video I did this morning was actually a note I found to myself from 2022 when I was going through a really hard time in business. I wrote a note to myself, and I haven't pulled it up since. I haven't seen it, and I found it this morning. I searched something and the note came up and I read it, and dude, it was so powerful. And like a lot of the things that I said to myself in 2022, they happened. They came true. And the point of me sharing it was like, people should just document, dude, because like going back and reading that and seeing where my mind was, my head was at that time. And I closed out the rant by saying like, I want to create more content like this for myself, dude, and for my kids, not even just for social media, you know, like even if that's all that comes of it, where it's just like documentation of my life, like how cool is that, you know?
Yeah.
Or when I'm old and not in shape and I can look back and be like, yo, I was in good shape.
100%, man. In his Grammy speech, he's like, man, like everybody was wondering like
what I would say if I didn't win. I guess we'll never know. Dude, I reposted that like 5 times.
Like just the fact that he's been practicing that before he even got a record deal is insane, man. Like, just that mindset.
It was like, you know, now same thing. Like the dude went off the deep end, but I don't know if you watch MMA, but it was like Conor McGregor, dude. What you know who that is, right?
Yeah.
Dude, during his ascent, that dude, like, he had this ridiculous conviction in himself, this ridiculous belief, and would just like, the things he would say, he would predict what's gonna happen, he would say, and then it would happen, you know? And it's like, you're almost, you know, manifestation's real, dude, because you're almost looking at those people. I remember he fought Jose Aldo, and he knocked Jose Aldo out in 13 seconds, but before that, he described exactly how he was gonna knock him out. Like he said things like he was gonna fall into like space where Conor wouldn't be, and he would overextend himself and he would get caught. And that's exactly what happened. But what's crazier, I don't know if you've ever seen this video, in Conor McGregor's locker room when he's warming up, it's not even his team, it's a security footage, right? From his dressing room. And he's like this, Conor McGregor's going like this, showing how stiff Jose Aldo is gonna be. And then he throws like a stiff punch. And then, so he's mimicking Jose Aldo's style, right? And then all of a sudden he switches to his style where he's loose, and then he bounces back and he throws this left hand, right? They took that clip and then they replayed the clip of the actual fight. And dude, you see Jose Aldo come in this stiff, you know, and then you see Conor bounce and catch him with this left hand, and they were comparing it, and it was almost identical. It was crazy. It was like he envisioned it, but then it actually happened, you know? Like not only the punch that he threw, but the way that Jose Aldo moved, and you know how he overextended himself. So yeah, that stuff.
I'm sure you've done that with your life, man.
Of course, man, yeah.
That's why you are where you are now.
Yeah, both good and bad. I manifested things that aren't good, you know? I told myself, oh my God, this is gonna happen. Like when I first started getting success in my business, my self-development had not met or exceeded my level of income, right? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
My self-development has not, but my income started to exceed my self-development, which in my book, that can't happen. So I started to doubt my success and think I wasn't deserving, and my business got hacked. We lost hundreds of thousands of dollars very quickly, and my income level fell down to here. So it's like, yeah, you can manifest both ways if you're not careful. He'll cross it. Get a little bit more extension. So the concept I saw, actually sad story, but the dude that I saw do that passed away at like 27 years old. And he was saying like when you stop here, you can't get like the full contraction. And so he said like switch it and then rotate. So anyway, I've been wanting to try it.
Do you feel a difference yourself?
Yeah, I feel like, so I have a torn pec from back in the day. It's still torn. There's like a dent right here. So sometimes I'm careful though, because like, I don't know, I feel it cramps up all the time on me.
Right.
So I could feel like when I was doing it, I was like, wait, that might be, yeah. Yeah, I was like lock up. And your pec locking up is a weird thing because you think you're having a heart attack or something. As opposed to, I don't know, I actually don't feel that much difference.